Hello dear students. In previous video we studied about properties of a charge. From that properties of charge we learned there are 6 properties. The first one is nothing but additivity of charge. Second one is nothing but conservation of charge. Third one is quantization of charge. Fourth one is like charges always repulse and unlike charges always attracts. Fifth one is charge is an scalar quantity. That means it has only magnitude and no direction. And last one is nothing but a charge carried by a body is not affected by its motion. These are the main some 6 properties we already learned in a previous class. In today's class we are going to discuss the Coulomb's law. This is an very important law in electrostatics. Coulomb's law. Dear students, in class 11th we already studied one chapter, that is nothing but gravitation. In that chapter we studied one law, that is nothing but universal law of gravitation, or it is also called as Newton's law of gravitation. Before discussing about Coulomb's law, we will learn about the universal law of gravitation, because universal law of gravitation has some similarities with Coulomb's law. So first we will discuss universal law of gravitation. Universal law of gravitation. According to universal law of gravitation, if I take 2 point masses, assume that there are 2 point masses which is placed in any medium, that point masses are named as M1 and M2. Okay, and these 2 point masses are placed in any medium, and there is a distance between these 2 point masses. That distance taken as R, and that distance should be taken from center of the point masses. Okay, point mass means the size of the mass is very small compared to the distance between them. If 2 point masses are placed at a distance R, then there will be a interaction of force between the 2 point masses. So according to universal law of gravitation, it states that there is a force of attraction between the 2 point masses, and that force of attraction between the 2 point masses is directly proportional to the product of the 2 masses. It is directly proportional to the product of the 2 masses, and this force of attraction between the 2 point masses inversely proportional to the square of the distance between 2 point masses. That is, F is inversely proportional to R square. So according to this law, if the product of mass increases, then force of attraction between 2 point masses also increases. And if the distance between 2 point masses increased, then force of attraction between 2 point masses decreases. Okay, if the distance between the 2 point masses decreased, then the force of attraction between 2 point masses will increase. That is called as the universal law of gravitation. So we can write universal law of gravitation as F is directly proportional to M1 M2 product of 2 masses and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Here there is a proportionality sign. To take out proportionality sign, we are introducing an constant. That constant is nothing but G M1 M2 divided by R square. And this G is called as a universal gravitational constant. And this universal gravitational constant has value 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So this is called as the universal law of gravitation. And this gravitational force is weakest force in the universe. And this gravitational force is a long range force. And also this gravitational constant, this is very important, this gravitational constant is a fixed value for any medium. That means if you keep this 2 point masses in vacuum, or if you keep that 2 point masses in water, if you keep in any medium, this value of G is a constant for all medium. Understood? So that is the force of attraction between the 2 point masses is directly proportional to the product of 2 point masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That is called as a universal law of gravitation. So similar to this, there is a force of interaction between, there is a 2 point charges also. So that one we will study in Coulomb's law. So Coulomb's law, according to Coulomb's law, it tells that force of attraction or repulsion, between 2 point charges, is directly proportional to product of magnitude of 2 point charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. This is called as a Coulomb's law. So this law is given by the scientist Coulomb, so that it is called as a Coulomb's law. So here we will get the idea about the interaction of forces between the point charges. Okay. So force of attraction or repulsion between 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of 2 point charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This is the statement of Coulomb's law. Very important statement. According to this statement, what it tells that, suppose that if I consider 2 point charges, here I am considering 2 point charges. We know that point charges is nothing but the size of the charges is very small compared to the distance between them. Here I am considering 2 point charges, that is Q1 and Q2. Okay, let us assume that both are positive charges. Now it is I kept in any medium. For example, you assume that this is an vacuum medium. 2 point charges are placed in a vacuum medium or free space, and there is a distance between 2 point charges. That distance is taken as r, and here also the distance should be taken from the center of the 2 point charges. Okay, according to Coulomb's law, it tells that there is a force of attraction or repulsion between the 2 point charges. What is the meaning of force of attraction and force of repulsion? When we observe the force of attraction and when we observe the force of repulsion, suppose that if 2 point charges are same kind of charges, that means 2 charges are like charges, then we will observe force of repulsion between 2 point charges. For unlike charges, we will observe force of attraction between 2 point charges. Okay, suppose that if it is both are like charges, then we will observe force of repulsion, and that force of repulsion between 2 point charges is directly proportional to product of a magnitude of 2 point charges, that means Q1 into Q2, and we should take the magnitude of that product. Okay, and this force of repulsion or attraction also inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, that means if the product of a magnitude of 2 charges increases, then force between them also increases. If the distance between the 2 point charges decreases, then the force between the 2 point charges increases. Suppose that the force suppose that the distance between 2 point charges is decreased, then force between the 2 point charges will increases. That is a Coulomb's law. Okay. So in general we are writing Coulomb's law as force of attraction or force of repulsion is directly proportional to product of magnitude of charges, that are q1 q2, okay, and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Here also there is a proportionality sign. To take out that proportionality sign, we are introducing a constant. That constant is nothing but a k. Okay, k q1 q2 divided by r square. This k is nothing but a proportionality constant. Proportionality constant. And it can be written as, the value of k can be written as k is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. The k can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Here epsilon naught is nothing but permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. Permittivity of free space. Then Coulomb's law can be written as F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. So this is the Coulomb's law in electrostatics. See here, epsilon naught is nothing but a permittivity of a free space. Then what is the meaning of permittivity of a free space? Epsilon naught, permittivity of a free space. Permittivity is nothing but it is the property of medium between two charges which affects the force between them. That is called as a permittivity of a medium. Permittivity of medium is nothing but it is the property of medium between the two charges which affects the force between them. That means here this constant, the constant value is depending on a medium. But in the case of universal law of gravitation, the constant value is not depending on any medium. Right? It is a fixed value in any medium. But in the case of Coulomb's law, this value is depends on a medium. Okay? So that is called as a permittivity of a medium. Suppose that if I consider the medium as a free space or vacuum, its value is permittivity of a free space can be written as 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12. 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square. Coulomb, its unit is epsilon naught is equal to 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. So this is the permittivity value for free space. Or for air also. For air also we are taking as 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. That means for both the medium its value is almost same. 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Understood? So here permittivity of the value increases to the medium to medium. Okay, so if medium is changes, then the permittivity value also changes. Then there is a change in the force of attraction or repulsion between the 2 point charges. Understood? So that is the Coulomb's law in electrostatics. And this, if you calculate the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is k is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, by substituting the values, you will get k value 9 into 10 to the power 9. You know that 4 into pi is 3.14 into epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is nothing but the permittivity of a free space. If you take 8.8 into 10 to the power minus 12, then you get the value 9 into 10 to the power 9. And its unit is K is Newton meter square per coulomb square. Okay, 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. So that is about Coulomb's law. So this one I defined for free space. Okay, for free space I am taking force of attraction or repulsion as for free space. Free space I am taking as a Coulomb's law. F naught is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square. This is I am taking as equation 1. Suppose that if I take any medium rather than free space. So for any medium I am writing the force of attraction or repulsion between 2 point charges as F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Instead of epsilon naught, for any medium I am writing as 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 divided by R square. So this is equation number 2. So if you observe, if I take 2 point charges, okay, in any medium, suppose that if I take 2 point charges, this is Q1, Q2. I am taking these 2 point charges in a vacuum that has a distance R. And in any medium also, I am taking 2 point charges, that same value of 2 point charges, and in that medium also has a distance R. But for medium, it's for different medium, its permittivity value also varies. Okay, its permittivity value for free space I am taking as epsilon naught. Permittivity value for any medium I am taking as epsilon. That means its value varies. Other than that, all the terms are same. Suppose that if I divide equation 1 by equation 2, then I get F naught by F. Okay, F naught divided by F, then that is equal to, after cancelling all the terms, remaining is epsilon divided by epsilon naught. And this epsilon by epsilon naught, that is equal to epsilon R. This epsilon R is called as relative permittivity. Relative permittivity. Relative permittivity. Here, relative permittivity means it is the ratio of permittivity of any medium to the permittivity of free space. Then it is called as a relative permittivity. Or it is also equal to K. That K is nothing but dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. Dielectric constant. Studied about Coulomb's law. Now we will discuss the differences between the electrostatic force and the gravitational force. The force between the 2 point charges is considered as an electrostatic force, and force between the 2 point masses is considered as a gravitational force. Now let us see what are the differences between these two kind of forces. Okay, the first difference in the case of electrostatic force is electrostatic force between 2 point charges, attractive or repulsive. In nature. So electrostatic force between 2 point charges, repulsive or attractive in nature, that is depending on the type of charge. Suppose that if there are 2 like charges are present, then there will be a repulsive force between 2 point charges. If there is a unlike charges present, then there will be a attractive force between that 2 point charges. But in the case of gravitational force gravitational force is always attractive. Is always attractive. So in the case of a gravitational force, we will observe only the attraction between the 2 point masses. Only the attractive force between the 2 point masses. And second difference is nothing but electrostatic force is it is medium dependent. It is medium dependent. The force of attraction or repulsion between the 2 point charges depending on a medium. Okay, but in the case of gravitational force, it is independent of a medium. It is independent of a medium. It is not depending on any medium. Okay, it's a value of force not depending on any medium. Next, third one is magnitude of force. Magnitude of force is large compared to gravitational force. The magnitude of electrostatic force is large in value compared to the gravitational force. Okay, but gravitational force value, the magnitude of gravitational force is small compared to the electrostatic force. That means the value of gravitational force is less compared to the value of electrostatic force. Okay, that means gravitational force is weaker compared to the electrostatic force. These are the some main differences between electrostatic force and gravitational force. We discuss the pictorial representation of a force of attraction and force of repulsion between the 2 point charges. Pictorial representation of force. From Coulomb's law, we know that suppose that if we place like charges in a medium separated by a distance, then we will observe there is a force of repulsion between 2 point charges. That means between the two like charges. And suppose that if I place two unlike charges in a medium separated by a distance, then we will observe there is a force of attraction between them. Now we will discuss how pictorially we can represent the force of attraction and force of repulsion between the 2 point charges. Now first we will discuss for like charges. We know that in the case of like charges, we will observe force of repulsion between the 2 point charges. Force of repulsion. Now let us see how to denote the force of repulsion between 2 point charges. Okay. For that I am considering there are 2 point charges here, Q1 and Q2. Here both Q1 and Q2 are like charges and the displacement between, there is a displacement between 2 point charges. If 2 point charges are like charges, then we will observe the force of repulsion between them. Then force of repulsion direction is like this. Okay, this is the force of repulsion direction. Here, the left hand side, it can be written as F12 vector, and right hand side, it can be represented as F21 vector. We know that force is vector quantity. That's why we are representing in a force in a vector form. See here, F12 vector is nothing but F12 vector represents force on charge Q1 due to Q2. That is F12 vector. F21 vector means force on Q2 due to Q1. Okay, that is F21 vector. And here there is a displacement between charge Q1 and Q2. Suppose that if I represent R21 cap, we know that the R21 cap is nothing but unit vector and it is used to represent the direction. Suppose that if I represent R21 cap, this represents the displacement direction from charge Q1 to Q2. Displacement direction from Q1 to Q2, then I should mark arrow from Q1 to Q2. Instead of R21 cap, suppose that if I take R12 cap, then it represents the displacement direction from Q2 to Q1. Suppose that if I write R12 cap, then I should mark arrow from Q2 to Q1 direction. Okay, so that is the representation of a force of repulsion between the 2 point charges, that is in the case of like charges. And some points you should remember that, see here, the force which is acting, that should be along the line joining 2 points. Okay, that means see here, there is a line between the 2 points, that is Q1 and Q2. 2 points means here 2 charges, Q1 and Q2. Between this I drawn one line that represents the displacement, right? And these both the forces should be act along the line joining that 2 point charges like this. Okay, so that is the one point you should remember. And another point you should remember that this Coulomb's law also agreed with the Newton's third law of motion. We know that Newton's third law of motion is nothing but that is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Here also the Coulomb's law also agree with the Newton's third law. That means here if you observe two forces, right, F12 vector and F21 vector, the force direction are opposite in direction, but their magnitude are same. That means it agree with the Newton's third law. Then I can write F12 vector is equal to minus F21 vector. They are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. That's why here it is denoted minus sign. Similarly, we can write R21 cap is equal to minus R12 cap. Here the displacement direction are opposite but they are equal in magnitude. Okay, these are some points also you should remember. This is in the case of like charges. Similarly, for unlike charges, how to represent the force of attraction for unlike charges? Now here I am going to consider there are 2 point charges. That 2 point charges are unlike charges. That means one charge is positive charge, another one is negative charge, and there will be a displacement between 2 point charges. Now in the case of the force of attraction is denoting like this. This is the representation of force of attraction, and this one can be written as F12 vector, force acting on first charge due to second charge, and this one as F21 vector, force acting on second charge due to the first charge, and the direction of displacement R21 cap. Then the displacement direction from Q1 to Q2. Then arrow from Q1 to Q2 like this. Suppose that it is R12 cap, then the displacement from Q2 to Q1. Okay, so that is the pictorial representation of a force of attraction between 2 unlike charges. Okay, so very important for unlike charges and for like charges, the pictorial representation. Now we discuss Coulomb's law in vector form. Coulomb's law in vector form. We already discussed about Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law tells that the force of attraction between 2 point charges is directly proportional to product of magnitude of 2 point charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. That is represented like this. But this form indicates that only the magnitude of a force. But we should indicate in a vector form also, because force is a vector quantity. So how to represent the Coulomb's law in a vector form? So let us see. Here I am considering 2 point charges in a 2-dimensional space, x and y. So here I am considering 2 point charges. That is represented as q1 and q2. And this is the origin. And here the position of q1 from the origin can be represented as r1 vector. R1 vector. Okay. R1 vector is nothing but position of charge q1. Similarly, position of charge q2 from origin. Position of charge q2 from origin can be represented as r21 vector. Sorry, r2 vector. R2 vector is nothing but position vector of or position of charge q2. Okay. See here, the two point charges are like charges. Suppose that if you assume that 2 point charges are like charges, then we will observe force of repulsion between them like this. This is the force of repulsion. This one can be represented as F12 vector. This one as F21 vector. Okay. So you should denote the direction for position vector also by marking arrow like this. And see, there is a displacement between q1 and q2. So displacement vector I am representing as r21 vector. Okay. R21 vector means here R21 vector means the vector leading from q1 to q2. Then the arrow should be from q1 to q2 like this. Okay. Now I have to write the Coulomb's law in a vector form. First I am taking F12 vector. Okay. F12 vector. So F12 vector is equal to, in Coulomb's law, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r, instead of r square I should write r12 square. Then what is the meaning of r12? R12 is nothing but, R12 vector is nothing but, so vector leading from q2 to q1. Suppose that if I take instead of r21 vector, if I take r12 vector, then it means vector leading from q2 to q1. Then the arrow should be from q2 to q1. Suppose that if I take f12 vector, then I have to represent here r12 square. And the direction is represented by unit vector, that is r12 cap. Okay, this is the unit vector which represents the displacement direction from q2 to q1. Okay, see here f12 vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r12 square. But we know that the unit vector also can be represented as r12 cap is equal to r12 vector divided by magnitude of r12. So this is the representation of a unit vector. So that in here if I substitute, I will get r12 vector is equal to, sorry, r12 vector divided by r12. Okay. So here R12 square, the magnitude of R12 square into magnitude of R12, that will be R12 cube. So finally we will get F12 vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R12 cube into R12 vector. So this is the representation of force. Okay, that is the Coulomb's law in the vector form. Force acting on first charge due to the second charge. Similarly, I can write force acting on. Similarly, I can write force acting on second charge due to first charge as F21 vector is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2. Instead of R12 cube, I have to write R21 cube into R21 vector. This is for force acting on second charge due to first charge. Okay, this is the representation of force in vector form in the case of Coulomb's law. Students, in Coulomb's law, we discussed about forces between the 2-point charges, right? If suppose that more than 2-point charges are present in a medium, then how to calculate the force on a single charge due to the other charges? For that purpose, we are using one principle, that is nothing but a superposition principle. Superposition principle. Now let us see what is the meaning of a superposition principle. According to superposition principle, force acting on a charge due to other charges is the vector sum of all the forces acting on that charge due to other charges at a time. That is called as a superposition principle. That means if more than 2-point charges are present, then how we can calculate the force acting on a single charge due to the all other charges at the same time? That one we can calculate by using the superposition principle. Now let us see how to calculate the force on a single charge due to the other charges. Okay. See here, I am considering here 3-point charges, and all these 3-point charges are positive charges. That means all are like charges. That is Q1, Q2 and Q3. And here there is a displacement between Q1 and Q2. Similarly, there is a displacement between Q1 and Q3. Now I have to find the force on a charge Q1 due to charge Q2 and Q3 using the superposition principle. First, see here, Q1 and Q2 are the like charges, so that there is a repulsive force between them. But now I have to calculate force on Q1 due to Q2. Then I have to represent the direction of force, that is a repulsive force, like this. That is a F12 vector, force acting on first charge due to the second charge. And here displacement direction should be taken from R12 cap. That is the displacement direction from Q2 to Q1. Then the arrow should be like this. Similarly, there is a force acting on Q1 due to Q3. Right. This is also a like these two charges also a like charges, so that a repulsive force between them. But here I want to calculate force on Q1 due to Q3. Then force direction is like this. This is a F13 vector, force acting on first charge due to the third charge, and displacement direction from Q3 to Q1, that one represented by 1R13 cap, and the arrow should be from Q3 to Q1. Okay. Now how to calculate the resultant force on Q1? Resultant force on Q1. Resultant force on Q1 can be calculated using superposition principle. According to superposition principle, it tells that force on a Q1. So force on a Q1, that one I am representing as F1 vector. Okay. Force of acting on a Q1, that is equal to the vector sum of all the forces acting on charge Q1. All the forces means force acting on Q1 due to Q2, that is F12 vector, plus force acting on Q1 due to Q3, that is F13 vector. Then I will get the resultant force on Q1 due to Q2 and Q3. Okay, that is the superposition principle. Suppose that if I consider another charge, that is Q4, then there is an effect of force on Q1 due to Q4 also, right? But this force, the force due to Q4 will not affect on force due to Q3 on Q1. Similarly, force due to Q4 is not affects on force on Q1 due to Q2. Okay, but the force produced by Q4 only affected on total sum, but it will not affect on individual forces produced by the charges. Understood? That is about superposition principle.